Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to another session of Philippine Society for Talent Development Learn from Home series. PSTD is a non-profit organization committed to upgrading and professionalizing learning and development in the Philippines. It was founded in 1965. My name is Luz Mercurio, and I am a member of PSTD. Our mission as an organization is we grow, we learn, we transform. So part of our mission is to support our colleagues impacted by the sudden change in the talent development environment. So as you can see, about 60 people volunteered to form Oplan Hope, which means hang on, people enablers. At this point, we would like to learn more about you, our attendees in this particular session. So we will have a poll, a brief poll. Let me just check who just joined in. Good afternoon, Eric. Hello. Maricel, hello. John Ray. Annabelle, good afternoon. Evelyn from Parañaque. From Parañaque din ako. Regine, good afternoon. Jamie, Raul, good afternoon. Okay, so this is the poll. Kindly join us. We'd like to know you more. So first question, what type of talent development practitioner are you? Are you a soft skill trainer, technical trainer? Are you an educator, a coach or mentor, an HR or administrative person for the organization, HR, manager or executive, a consultant? Or are you in some other areas, like are you a business person? And then, where are you calling from? Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. We hope by this time we have more from Visayas. And of course, the third question is this your first time in PSTD Learn from Home series? We have 114 participants, and we encourage you to join us. You can reach us through the chat box. Please note that you can communicate to other attendees by using chat box. Use it as dedicated to all panelists and all attendees, because the default here is to all panelists only, so we get to see them only. All right. So we're waiting for the result. Good afternoon, Pauline. Hi, Cynthia. We are on PSTD Facebook Live pala. Okay. Mary Chris, good afternoon. Let's see the result. Okay, we have more educators this afternoon, 40%, followed by executives and managers at 21%. Welcome, everyone. Let me move on. Where are you calling from? Mostly from Luzon. Salamat po. We have 8% from Visayas and 8% from Mindanao. And is this your first time? 81%. Suki na po namin. Salamat po. So, we move on. Good afternoon, Cheryl. From Baguio City, hello, Joy. So, we move to the next slide, and we give you what our aim is. Now, Oplan Hope aims to support. The next slide shows you what is our purpose. We have Nath here to navigate the slides for us, and he's also our tech person. Nath, can you provide us the next slide, please? Naghang po yung slide namin. Anyway, I'll continue, no? As most of you already know, Oplan Hope aims to support the learning community cope with the crisis through relevant learning sessions, most of which we offer to you for free. And we also provide paid webinars to help sustain the operations of PSTD, knowing that it is a nonprofit organization. So you partner with us as we curate more seminars or webinars for our additional audiences. And then, as you already know, our flagship project is Learn from Home series. And this is led by PSTD President John Baluyot. We started our free webinars last April, and look, we already have delivered more than 38 classes to date, and our speakers are coming from different parts of the world some are thought leaders, and we have more than 11,000 Zoom attendees each time. It's very fulfilling for us to reach out on average of about 300 people. And we also have 90,000 viewers via Facebook. So how do you learn more of what we are having? If you want to learn more about PSTD and our advocacy, visit facebook.com/mypstd. And you can also watch our videos, recorded videos, so that you learn more about what we have been doing in the past several months. The next slide shows you what we will be giving you for the following weeks. We will have moving from classroom training to visual sessions for June 19 and for June 23. For those interested to know more about coaching, we have Mr. Julius Ordonez, Coaching in Times of Uncertainty. Okay. The next slide will be what people are looking for when they want to drill into specific ideas, insights, as we get subject matter experts. For this particular Saturday, we will have Lawrence co-moderating for two experts. We have Alan Gamboa from Inquirer Academy and Michi Concepcion from Wyeth. And of course, we have paid sessions. You partner with us, support the organization so that we can help our attendees. They can gain more about what we can offer to support them in coping with the difficult situation that we have. We have enabling online learning for June 18, for June 25, mentoring. We have Maribel Aglipay, John Sales for enabling online learning, and for June 30, how to manage emotions. That's me, Luz Mercurio. The next slide shows you what you can gain when you become a member of PSTD. We encourage you to join us as members. Individual rate will be 2.8, and then corporate rate is 5.6. We have a promotion, as you all know. It will be until June 15 only. So we will offer you a 15-month-long membership until June 15. So within the week, please join us. We've been receiving a lot of applications already, and we're very happy to have more members here. And of course, the next slide will show you how you can be part of the organization. Join us through our website, www.pstd.org. And you can scan the QR code, or you go down left part of the screen and click Become a Member today. Yan. Now, we have this afternoon an interesting topic for you to know how to develop leaders. And we have a competent moderator to help us learn some more in this session. So our moderator for this afternoon is Miss Irene Esleta. She is the Learning and Development Associate Director of St. Luke's Medical. And she also was a Gawad Maestro L&D Manager for 2018. She's also now the current treasurer and part of the Board of Trustees of PSTD. Good afternoon, Irene.
Sorry, yeah. Hi, Luz. Thank you for that. So good afternoon, everyone. This is actually my second time as moderator. And so before we proceed to the session, may I just remind everyone that we will put you on mute mode to manage the flow of information. And please use the Q&A tab found at the middle bottom of your screen for your questions. I will keep track of the questions for our speaker later during the open forum. If you want to just give your comment or input about the topic, feel free to use the chat box. So if it's a comment, please put it in the chat box, and which is found beside the Q&A tab. And when you do, please make sure to pin your question to all panelists, okay? And these features may only be used by those who will be joining us right now in Zoom. And finally, certificates will be provided for Zoom logged-in participants only, those who will finish it from start to finish, equivalent to 40 minutes, and those who will answer our post-eval survey will receive these certificates. So please make sure you do complete this session. Okay, so our theme for the week is about capability and capacity building in the new normal. And I really volunteered to moderate today because of my interest and passion about the topic. You see, as HR and L&D practitioners, one of the primary responsibilities we have is to make sure that there is a succession plan, right? And a leadership development program in place. People have been talking about the new normal or the next normal or the next new normal. And there's always this concern about how ready our managers and new leaders are in managing a workforce in an era or in a period of pandemic. So, what traits and roles should our managers and leaders possess? And if you are a leader, what are the things that you should remember and you should do to lead effectively? And our guest speaker has a very rich experience in leadership development, will give us some tips and walk us through how important a leader's role is in an organization. So, be it in government, in a school, your own business. So allow me now to introduce to you our guest speaker for this afternoon session. He used to be the China director of GE Crotonville Development Center and used to be with SOE, Philips, 3M, and GE. He started his career in sales and marketing professional as a sales and marketing professional and later chose HR as his lifelong career. His most recent role was a senior leader of a China company with a whopping 100 billion in revenue. He also co-founded China CLO 100 about 3 years ago as the best learning and co-creation platform in China for learning leaders. He is also an expert for China Action Learning Center and has been providing lectures in various universities in China about business. He also holds a master's degree from China Europe International Business School. I now give the floor, L&D colleagues, to our guest speaker, Mr. Kevin Feng. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Irene.
Hi. Now, your turn now.
Okay. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, it is amazing that we are connected virtually. I just saw the number, almost 200 people. It's really amazing. Yeah, so let me open my screen first. So Irene, just want to make sure that you can see my screen, right? Bruce?
Yes, I can
That's
see your
good.
screen. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you a lot to Luz for inviting me to share some experience in terms of leadership development. And Luz and I, we used to work for GE for a long time, and we are good friends as well. Also, thank you, John, for making this happen. Today, I'm going to share a topic called Build a Leadership Powered Organization. I just saw the demographics. Definitely, this topic applies to companies and commercial organizations most. But I want to say that it also applies to educators as the biggest group today. Because I actually have a son of 12-year-old. He's going to be in the junior middle school. I really feel that how leadership development is important for young kids. Yeah, like my 12-year-old son. Yeah. First of all, a very quick self-introduction, and Irene already talk about my experience. So to make it simple, I have 23 years working experience. From function wide, my first 10 years was mostly the sales and marketing. So it's interesting that after 10 years, I studied an MBA degree in Shanghai, China, and later gradually I I became a learning professional, as a typical HR role. Yeah. So my 23 years, and I also want to divide it in terms of company nature. So I actually spent my first 5 years in a state-owned company in China. I'm not very sure how much you know the state-owned companies. So for state-owned companies, it's a very typical, bureaucracy, hierarchy structure. Make it simple, yeah. And then, I studied my MBA. After that, I worked with multinationals, mostly from Philips, to be exact, Philips Lighting, to 3M, and to General Electric at last. Yeah. So after General Electric, I also played a role as deputy HR leader for a Chinese company, a very big Chinese company, for 3 years. And almost 1 year ago, less than 1 year ago, I started my most recent role as the China CEO of Leadership Pipeline Institute. Yeah, so that's my experience. Okay, so first of all, as learning professionals, we always say that content is king. But we always forget that there is another sentence called context is kingdom. Yeah, context is kingdom. So when we start, I want to talk about context. In what way, the leadership development, is really very important for fast-growing companies. Yeah. So of course, in most Asian countries, I think companies develop very, very fast, just like this small picture. Yeah, take China, for example. I have seen a lot of internet companies. The young managers are getting promoted so fast. And even some people skip some levels and became, a direct level or even a top level in a very, very short period of time. But there is a natural question, like, they are put in the position, right? They are put in the position. But my question is that, will the newly promoted managers directly or general managers naturally fulfill their duties or roles and responsibilities with the new role naturally? That is the question. Yes, the answer is usually no, or not necessarily. So in China, at least, I have seen a phenomenon called managing at a lower level. That's very, very popular and often seen here in China. For example, we often see that a very good technical guy who has been promoted to a technical leadership role, but he cannot perform very well. Yeah, that's a very, very typical case. Another case is that I have even seen some direct level sales directors, very, very top levels. He or she made it, 80 or even 100 sales guys. But to some extent or to some degree, we found that, or we observed that his mindset, his behaviors are still at lower level, like the sales managers, or some are even at a super sales role mindset. Yeah. So with that said, then there is a very, very important question here. How to make sure that in the organization, the leaders of all levels are competent and qualified. At all levels, I mean from individual contributor, the frontline people, to a manager level, what we call as leading others, to the direct level, what we call as leading leaders, and even higher to the functional leader and the general manager. How can we do, and what kind of things we can do to make sure that leaders at all levels are all competent and qualified? That is a very, very important question, from the company perspective. Yeah. So as Peter Drucker said, Yes, the most common cause of executive failure is the inability and unwillingness to change with the demands of a new position. The executive who keeps on doing what he has done successfully before is almost bound to fail. Drucker's quote here is usually from executive or personal perspective. But as learning professionals, we need to ask ourselves, should we let this phenomenon happen in our company? Yeah. Or can we do something about it? Or can we as learning professional, we do some learning intervention. Yeah, we do some learning intervention to prevent this phenomenon. Yeah, to prevent the phenomenon Peter Drucker mentioned from happening. That is a question I asked, or we should answer, or we should try to answer. Yeah. With that said, with our theory, we always say that a leader need to ask him or her 3 words every day, what we call as 3 reflections. The first word is called begin. What kind of things, what kind of traits or capabilities you never used before, but as a new leadership role, you need to begin develop it. What are those things? What we call as begin. The second word is called continue. So what are the competencies or traits you have been doing for a lot of time and you have been very, very successful and experienced? And the traits and competence still applies to your new leadership role. So you can continue. Right? So this is second word, what we call as continue. The third and the most important word is called letting go. What are the things you like very much, enjoy very much? What are the competencies or traits you possessed before or with your previous role, but with your new leadership role or with your future role, you need to let go part of it, or you need to let go 100% of it. What are those things? What are those things? What are those competencies? Or what are those behaviors you need to let go? Yeah. So those are the 3 words, and we often push, managers or leaders to ask themselves as daily reflection: begin, continue, and letting go. So there are two, what I call as the laws or principles, which applies to the fast-growing companies a lot. The first was called Peter Principle. I'm sure that a lot of people probably know this. So Peter Principle was put forward in the year of 1968. Yeah, a few decades ago. Yeah. So Peter Principle means what? Means in an organization, in a big company, yeah, we keep promoting people. But for most people, they're promoted. They are constantly getting promoted. Someday, they will be at a level they are less competent. And then they will stay at that level, for the rest of their career. That is what we call as Peter Principle. Yeah. And, the key is not the Peter Principle as a concept, but, as a learning professional, we can ask ourselves, do we, does our organization have Peter Principle or as a phenomenon a lot, or to what degree? That is what we need to consider. If there are a lot of people in our company organization and who stay with some, whatever positions, and if there are a certain percentage of people or business leaders or managers, they become incompetent, what's the result? What's the consequence? And it's scary, right? And it is our duty and responsibility of learning professionals to do some learning preventions to, to do some learning prevention from happening in our organization. Yeah. The second is called the Parkinson's law. It was put forward even earlier than Peter principle, but I think it is a result or consequence of Peter principle. When bureaucracies expand, the companies become less efficient. Yeah. So we can use a metaphor. As some old people, they become old. Their mind cannot control their hands. They suffer from the Parkinson's disease. Yeah. So and here I want to pause a little bit and ask you guys a question as a reflection. Yeah, you may not need to answer, but you need to think about to what degree does our organization have the Peter principle phenomenon or Parkinson's law phenomenon? Yeah. So I want to pause a little bit. So if the answer is yes, probably, yeah, so you can type, yes or something like that. Yeah. Okay. I see some friends are typing yes. Okay. So I will continue. Yeah. In what way we can really solve the problem, of the Peter principle in the year of, oh, sorry, by the way, I see a lot of years popping out suddenly. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah. Okay. In what way we can solve the problem, with a systematic solution, yeah, especially from the organization perspective. And the answer is here. In the year of 1998 to 2001, the three people, they're called Ram Sharing, Steve Trotter, and James Noble. They worked for Citibank for a very big consulting project. Yeah. At that time, Citibank had a big crisis. The US government at that time, they posed a lot of restrictions, because of the financial crisis or something like that, with Citibank. Yeah. And then Citibank has some serious problems with top leader succession planning. Yeah. Then the CEO of Citibank at that time invited Ram Sharing, CEO, and James, the three person, to go to Citibank, ask them a question, can we select the best leaders to be the top leadership team? Yeah. Then the three consultants, Steve, Ram, and James, they went to Citibank. They did some assessment. They found out that there are about 300 BU leader role, or what we call as general manager role, from Citibank worldwide. And they interviewed about 80 people. Yeah, one-on-one interview. And then they found out that most of the general manager role business leaders, they are not necessarily, they are not really were playing a general manager role. Instead, they were playing a sales manager role, just in different countries. Yeah, so when the three consultants presented the result to the Citibank CEO, he was shocked. He thinks that it's easy to find some qualified successors for the real top leadership team, but he cannot. Then the three consultants and work together with CEO, and then they put forward a leadership development program, blah blah blah. Yeah, something like that. From that story, or from that background, then the three consultants sat together, and they discussed how can we really, make a company like Citibank or like some other companies, how can they really have enough leaders or enough competent and qualified leaders, and how can they develop the talents and to make the organization itself into a kind of what they call talent factory, just like General Electric at that time. Yeah. So they thought about it and they worked together and put forward the book called Leadership Pipeline. So yeah, that's the whole story of the book, and that is also the foundation of my content. What I will talk about. So yeah, so in the year of 2011, there is another book called Performance Pipeline. So the two books are twin books. Yeah. So the first book, Leadership Pipeline, they tell us about how the leadership development can be developed from the leadership from the individual contributor, yeah, to leading others, leading leaders, functional leader, and eventually to a top group CEO. And the performance pipeline, the second book describes how we can measure or how we can assess, if the leaders with different levels from leading others, leading leaders, functional leader, and even general manager, how can we make sure that they have a successful performance? How can we assess it, or in what aspect we can assess it? So they are twin books. They are twin books. You may be curious to know why I know the story so much. The story is very simple, because all of them worked for GE for a long time. Yeah, Ram Sharing was an executive coach for Jack Welch long time ago. Yeah, and Steve and James, both Steve and James worked with GE Conquil for many years. That is why I know the story, because later I got to know Steve and we checked a lot. Actually, we are supposed to talk next week. Yeah. Okay, so right now I would like to talk a little bit about the leadership pipeline principle. Yeah. So what I want to call this pipeline, the first principle of talent management, because it is a very fundamental, it is a root cause, talent development principle. Okay, so the graph may look a little bit complicated, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I will tell with you. So leadership pipeline. So our focus is like this. Our when organizations become bigger and bigger, yet they evolve or develop from small, to bigger and to even bigger. And then there are more and more leadership roles, which pop out, like leading others, leading leaders. Right? Okay, let's first begin from business leader role. Yeah. Okay. No matter how big is the organization, like my organization, we only have 4 people right now in this stage because we just started from 1 year ago. There is still a role called business leader or general manager. That is the role I'm playing. Yeah, number 1 person here, the business leader role. And when the organization become very big, for example, one of my friends, who is entrepreneur of a training company, yeah, they have about 100 people. Yeah, and with the 100 people company, and they have different functions, right? They have a sales department, they have what they call as R&D department, yeah, something like that. Then there is another leadership role called functional leader, which appears, right? Functional leader. And just as let me continue with my friend's example, because he's got one big sales team, and he divides his sales team into different industries. For example, there are a few people who work together with financial industry. There are another small group who works with maybe, for example, real estate. Then there is another role called leading leaders or direct level leadership role, right? With a total sales function, real estate sales director, or financial sector sales director, or education field or sales director, something like that. Yeah, that's another role called leading leaders. And because their company is in Shanghai, then their biggest sales sector actually is a financial, that's actually the financial sector sales team. And they have maybe 20, 30 people. And then there is one more layer between the section leader of financials, financial sector, sales director, between the direct and the front people, there is another manager level. Then there is another role called leading others. Leading others. Yeah. So the focus of leadership pipeline. So our focus is why we need those leadership roles. What kind of values should they create? Should they create? Yeah, to prove their existence, or what kind of things they need to do, to really make sense of their existence, or what we call as value creation perspective. And that is our research perspective. That is our research perspective. Yeah. Okay, so these are the roles I just introduced. Okay, so this page actually very interesting. That is the full spectrum of leadership pipeline framework. It's a little bit complicated. I won't elaborate a lot, but I just want to say that how leadership pipeline is different from other leadership development series and practice. The difference is that we have our research on leadership roles, yeah, not competencies, not simply competencies. Yeah, for example, as individual contributor, we need them to deliver, learn and do, make things happen, deliver product services. For managers, their keywords is enablement. Yes, the frontline managers or leading others help the frontline people, to deliver service or products. Yeah, for direct level or leading leaders level, the keyword is productivity. And then for functional leader, and our keyword is called competitive advantage. For example, we have an IT leader. Yeah, then the IT leader or the IT teams, to some degree, their team's capability represents this company's digitalization capability. That is what we mean by competitive advantage. Yeah, and then there is BU leader or general manager. So the keyword is what? Is profitability, making money. That is keywords, making money. Yeah, and the top two layers, group CEO and the group vice president, I want to elaborate. So all in all, I want to emphasize that we research, or we put our focus on value creation of different leadership roles. Why we need those leadership roles? Or what if we don't have those roles? Yeah. So we ask every leader to find out where they are now, and further question is that maybe after 10 years, or 5 years.
Agree to the start, stop, and continue. We always use that, as an activity, right? I would always use that start, stop, and continue whenever I do planning sessions or sensitivity workshops to participants, and exercises, that we do in our face-to-face learning intervention. Correct. And of course, we have Monito from Binyan, City of Laguna. Earlier, I saw in the chat a PSTD team watching all together. Is that true? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so Kevin is not back yet. And let me just finish with my, the top of the mind points and learnings that I wanted to share to you later, but I think worth sharing now. Easy to remember also not to fall in the two traps, the Parkinson's law and the Peter principle. We all know the Peter principle and even the Parkinson's law. And it's just very amazing that through this session, we're able to, refresh our memories about, refresh ourselves about these two principles. The Peter principle, we always use it as a topic in our leadership programs, leadership onboarding programs here in the hospital. Okay, so let me see where Kevin is. Okay, please again use the chat box and the Q&A. I need to talk to someone. Okay, you can talk to me through the chat box, but let's just proceed with maybe you can share me. Maybe you can share through the chat box your learnings as well and your reflections. Because again, going back to the leader's reflection framework, why do you think the let go part is the most challenging part to reflection rather to do? Um, Maybe because you've been comfortable doing it, you're already in your comfort zone, and it's already part of your DNA of your daily existence as a leader or as a manager. So that's why, you know, and we always say as L&D practitioners, we believe that the most challenging part as well is unlearning the skills or the responsibilities, even the tasks that have been a routine for us already, right? Yes, Evelyn Mendoza, you said it, comfort zone. So difficult to let go. Irene, is it Irene? Irene really changes the mood. According to Flerilyn, it has become part of the culture. Right. Talking about culture. When it's part of the culture already, it's a norm in the organization. Also, when you keep doing things, no. And yes, AU, I agree with you. Change is difficult because of the uncertainties it brings. It also forces one to confront the possibility of failure. Enjoying your thoughts about your own reflection about the half of the discussion of Kevin. So according to Karen Aguilar, it's hard to let go. Something to do with physiological reasons. When the brain is forced to change these behaviors, it pushes back to maintain the same routines unless you want the new habits so bad that you force yourself to change, even if it's hard. Yes, agree. Oh, I can see Kevin. Kevin.
Can you hear me? I'm really sorry for that.
You know, when we talk, you're clear. No, but when I start to mute and stop my video, I tend to lose you. So let's try it again, Kevin.
Okay. Is this working, Irene?
It is so far.
Okay. So apology, everybody. So let me continue. So I just heard about Irene was that there were the three, what we call as three factors for successful leadership transition: work values, time application, and skill requirements. And the work values actually, so what kind of mindset or perspective you need to have when you reach a certain leadership role. Yeah, so it is, work values are actually connected with your roles, with your levels, with the leadership levels. Yeah. Time application is how much time, in what way you spend your time. For example, how much time you spend with your internal team, with your external key stakeholders, how much time you manage it up, manage it down, and horizontally. Yeah, and the skills requirements, that's a simple part. That's what we usually mean by competencies or traits or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so how leadership pipeline is different. We focus not on competencies and traits, and we focus on work values. We think that most people don't change their behaviors, not because they lack of skills or competencies, but because they don't think that is important, or they don't know that is important, or they have not been told by their leaders or by their organizations that those things are important. Those aspects are what we mean by work values. Yeah. So with our system, we spend a lot of time telling people what kind of working values you need to have. Yeah. And how much time you should, in what way you can spend your time, and what kind of skills you need to have to become successful. And all those work values, time application, and skills actually connected with your specific leadership roles, like leading others or leading leaders or director or general manager role. And that is how we are different from the traditional, leadership series. Yeah. Okay, so we have learning solutions from leading self, that's an individual contributor role, to manager, so leading others, to a manager role. We have leading other programs until the leading leaders program for direct level leader. And we also have a functional leader program for function leader level leaders. And we have customized executive workshops for top business leaders. Yeah, so I want to really emphasize that all those learning solutions are interconnected. By interconnection, what I mean is that one way, for example, when we teach a program called Leading Leaders, leading leaders has his or her own work values, time application, and skills. And leading leaders role, he or she need to evolve from the leading others role to leading leaders role, which means that, there are some aspects he needs to letting go. There are some aspects he need to develop, or there are some aspects he need to continue. Yeah. So which basically means that during the whole program, he will understand his lower role, like leading others role, and higher role, like functional leader role as well. That is what we call as interconnection. Yeah, and cohesive. Yeah. Okay, so a very simple example for your reference, and for example with leading leaders role, work values. The first work value, what we call as getting results through leaders, because leading leaders role is basically a direct level, what we call direct level role. And there is another role called leading others in between leading leaders and the frontline individual contributors. And so with leading others role, the leader need to become successful through others instead of through himself. But with a leading leaders role, he need to get success through leaders. And this aspect is often forgotten by leading leaders or direct level leaders. Yeah. And we have already seen that from a lot of surveys. Very interesting. Yeah. Another work value, what we call as value-based leadership. By leading leader, value-based leadership basically means that when we go to the direct level leadership role, we cannot always depend on the instructions, the company processes. Sometimes we need to influence them. We need to drive them with the values, with their mindset, with their perspectives, and help them to really realize the importance of something from within. That's very important to make your people get self-motivated or drive or get driven by values, not by money, not by company procedures or something like that. Yeah. Another work value is called ambiguity. In what way we mean that? We mean that with a direct role, you need to make decisions. But in most cases, probably you don't have enough information, but you still need to make decisions, right? It's impossible for you to understand everything and understand every aspect of life to make a decision. You have got to make a decision, out of your experience, out of your guts, or something like that. Or sometimes we need to do some balance, maybe between a low cost and high quality, short term and long term, something like that. Yeah. Another example is building relationships. This is also a formal item for, for work values, building relationships. We think that how, as a leading leader or as a director, you can establish a constructive relationship with your manager, with your leader, with your maybe with your direct team, yeah, and also with those key stakeholders or your peers who work together with you with some projects. You need to manage and build all those relationships, and all these parts are what we call as work values. And then, for example, if we say that building relationship is a work value, and then you need to spend time with what? With communication, right? Communication upwards, downwards, and sidewards. So this is a time application part. We only if you think it is important, it is part of job, will you put your time into it, right? And then skills are important, building relationship, up, down, and sidewards for the organization benefits. It is also a skill, and also a time application, and fundamentally, it is one of the work values a direct level leader need to possess. Yeah. So here I just give some example due to the time limit. Yeah. And this is a cost structure of our leading leaders program. I want to elaborate. Yeah, and we also do some surveys like this, to help leaders to really understand, how their behaviors are look like, and to what degree, and how their key stakeholders like that. You see the direct manager, or peers, or direct reports, how the different angles look at the leader in terms of their specific management behaviors. So this is a very, very important tool for us to get the, to understand to help the leaders to understand themselves in terms of self-awareness. Yeah, and we do the program through what? Through blended training. Yeah, through surveys. You see, we often do a survey beforehand, and we do a survey afterhand. Then we compare the results, and the survey result can be done on individual level, and it can also be done with a group level. Yeah. So, and we ask the managers, we ask the leaders to talk with the managers before the program, after program. We also implement some one-on-one coaching. Yeah. So during the whole learning experience, to make it a very special, learning experience. Yeah. Okay, so so that's basically the key content. Yeah. So I'm sorry for the technical problems, and I want to stop here. So and pass the mic to Irene. Maybe we have some questions. Yeah.
Yes, Kevin. Some interesting comments and questions here, but let me just ask you this question from Rafael Luis Lopez. You mentioned a while ago that nowadays there are promotions that skips levels already. How will the pipeline framework adapt to this?
That's an excellent question. Yeah. Sometimes leaders just skip one level and directly go to the higher level. So first of all, yeah, my first point is that then we use new three factors, yeah, to look at them. For example, maybe an individual contributor directly become a director, and by skipping the leading others level, and then we directly use what you can see is a kind of measurement of the leading leaders, right? Leadership behaviors. We directly use leading leaders, leadership behavior to measure if he or she is a good leader, or to what way, what aspect is good or bad. Maybe there are some areas he need to improve. by skating a level, and that is really creating some challenge for us, from the learning development perspective, because, it's difficult for a leader already directed to join a manager level training, right?
Right.
But it's true that, he or she really needs some fundamental mindset or work values or time application or skills. Maybe some of the aspects are still with lower level. With regard, here is what we usually do. We usually do some coaching with a person, and to tell him that what does it mean to skip level to become top leader. And he can skip level, but he still need to understand, a lot of things, like the work values, time application, and skills. But he cannot skip it. He still need to learn those things. Yeah, so maybe our director, he is an individual contributor. Maybe 20% of his time, he's still doing something himself. Maybe he also directly acting with some leading others roles, which basically means that he still need to understand the work values, some of the application and skills of leading others role. And of course, with the new title called Learning Direct Level title, and then he need to be a real director. So by skipping the level, it basically means that a leader need to be very, have very good self-awareness, and he needs to know it is really complicated, and for him to play a few leadership roles at the same time. That just adds the complexity and the challenge for the successful transition. But the theory definitely applies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kevin. Truly, there's been a lot of learning. So indeed, we wanted to ask more questions from you. And despite the technical issues that we experienced, I think with the comments given by our participants, they've already learned a lot. By the way, Kevin, is it okay? Can you give the presentation materials to? Is it okay to share?
Yeah, I can share with you, advanced versions so that people can learn, can continue to learn from it.
Oh, thank you for that. Very good.
I will send it later. Yeah.
Right.
No problem.
So I hope to speak to you again sometime. And thank you for accepting this invitation. So, and thank you for bearing with us with the technical difficulty. So I'd like to bring back Luz. Luz?
Hi.
Hi, yes.
To the audience, thank you for your patience. And Kevin is kind enough to share with us his slides. You can learn from that. And if you want to know more about the leadership pipeline that he has been sharing with us, you can send your messages to him through LinkedIn. Okay. Now, at this juncture, we'd like to tell you that we will have Chillax session on Saturday. So if you want to really know more about building a learning academy or learning more about the leadership pipeline, you can join Lawrence Ko as he is being joined later on Saturday at 2 p.m. by Alan Gambaw of Inquirer Academy and Michi Concepcion of Wyeth, Philippines. We'd like to thank everyone for spending this afternoon with us. Thank you very much, Irene, for moderating the session.
You're welcome. Anytime.
With technology, but at least we were able to gather really good information from Kevin. Kevin, thank you, salamat in Tagalog, and hope we will have you in another session. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, everybody. So it's a very, very nice learning experience from my side as well. So you can write to me through my email here, or you can also contact me through LinkedIn. Yeah. So I saw a lot of questions, and I'm sorry that I can only answer one due to limited time. Yeah. So let's keep contact, and thank you very much, Luz, Irene, and John, for your time. A pleasure to be here. Yeah.
We enjoyed the session, Nat. Nat Moncero, by the way, is our tech person. Thank you very much for keeping all our webinars very precise, and we really enjoy your support, Nath. Say hi to Nath, everyone. And we hope to see
Thanks, Nath.
you today for Chillax. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.